I'm Sa, and this is the story of how my husband thought he could outsmart me. It began with whispers in the dark, subtle hints that didn't quite fit, small bank transactions I never made, a name Ilia Maro that I had never heard before. Michael, my husband, wasn't just planning to leave me, he was planning to take everything, and he underestimated me. He believed I would crumble, but instead, I moved first. I protected what was mine, and in just 1 week, his entire plan backfired. The betrayal wasn't just about money. It was about trust, time, and the depth of deception. How long had he been planning this? How many lies had he told? And how far was he willing to go to destroy me? I woke up one night to an empty bed. The cold sheets beside me told me Michael had been gone for a while. At first, I thought maybe he had gone to the bathroom or grabbed a glass of water. But as I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, I caught the faint sound of his voice, low, hushed, careful. The hallway light was off, but a sliver of moonlight streamed through the window, casting long shadows across the floor. My stomach twisted as I followed the sound. Just a little longer. She doesn't suspect anything yet. I froze mid-step. My breath hitched. Michael's voice was smooth, reassuring, like he was calming someone down. My heart pounded. Who was he talking to? I strained to hear more, but the words were muffled, barely a whisper. This wasn't some late-night work call. Michael never whispered on work calls. Hell, he never cared if I overheard his conversations before. My mind raced through possibilities, each one worse than the last. Then I heard footsteps approaching. I barely had time to dart back to the bedroom before he rounded the corner. My pulse hammered as I slid under the covers, feigning sleep. A moment later, I felt the bed dip. His weight shifted beside me, but I kept my breathing steady. Minutes passed, then he exhaled slowly, relaxed like nothing had happened. Where were you? My voice came out soft and groggy. Bathroom, he muttered without hesitation. A lie. I stared at him, watching for any hesitation. He met my gaze, unreadable as always. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe it really was work. But that whisper, the sentence, she doesn't suspect anything yet. I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced myself to roll over. Not tonight. Not yet. The next morning, I woke before Michael. He was still fast asleep, his arm draped across the pillow where my head should have been. I slipped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and padded barefoot to the kitchen. Normally, I didn't check our bank accounts. Michael handled most of the finances, but something felt off. I scrolled through the transactions. $500, $1,000, $200, $750, $2,000, a dozen withdrawals over 3 months. Small, but frequent enough to raise a red flag. Michael and I shared expenses, mortgage, utilities, groceries, but these withdrawals weren't for bills, investments, or anything we'd discussed. My hands shook as I gripped the phone. Behind me, I heard footsteps. Michael leaned against the doorway, rubbing his neck. "Morning," he mumbled, voice thick with sleep. "What's for breakfast?" I set my phone down, about to ask him the same thing. He smirked, poured coffee, and casually said, "Guess it's your turn today." I checked our bank account again. Michael froze for half a second, his grip tightening around the mug before forcing a laugh. "There are a lot of small withdrawals I don't recognize," I said, arms crossed. "Just small investments. A few business opportunities," he replied smoothly. "Nothing to worry about. Short-term gains." He was lying. I knew it. I just didn't know why. The rest of the day, unease lingered. Michael was glued to his phone, always face down. That night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind raced. Michael had always been smooth and confident, but I knew when something was off, and something was definitely off. Then he left his phone unattended while taking a shower. A notification from a name I didn't recognize, Ilia Maro. The message preview read, "Just make sure she stays in the dark. Almost there." My chest tightened. Who was Ilia Maro? What did "almost there" mean? My finger hovered over the screen, but I didn't touch it. I wasn't ready. Later, he acted as if nothing had happened. Calm, charming, doting, but I knew better. Michael was preparing for something, and I intended to be ready. That evening, Michael moved through the apartment like nothing had changed. He laughed at the television, scrolled through his phone, even suggested ordering takeout. Every movement, every word was too smooth, too rehearsed. My skin crawled. Something had shifted in him, the way he walked, the way he spoke. It was all calculated. Then it happened. Michael left his phone on the coffee table. He never did that. My pulse quickened. A notification lit up the screen. Ilia Maro again. I tilted the phone just enough to read the message preview. Almost there. My mind spun. Was this another woman? Was he planning to leave me? Was he hiding money? The water shut off. Panic shot through me. I placed the phone back exactly where it had been, sank into the couch, gripping my knees to steady my shaking hands. A minute later, Michael returned, towel drying his hair, unaware that I had seen something I wasn't supposed to. "Did you decide on dinner?" he asked casually. "Not yet," I said softly, controlling my voice. He grabbed his phone, no hesitation, unlocking it effortlessly. I realized he was still hiding, still planning. That night, the reality hit me. This had never been about saving our marriage. Michael was orchestrating his exit, and he wanted everything he could take. My assets, my savings, the condo, it was all at risk. The next morning, he casually suggested we organize our finances just in case of emergencies. My heartbeat raced. Michael had never cared about my personal finances. Why now? I swallowed, forcing a neutral expression. "I mean, I guess I could put something together," I said. He smiled. Small, calculated, like he'd won a minor victory. But I saw the flicker of something dangerous behind his eyes. By evening, I had decided I wasn't going to confront him without a plan. If I was right, I needed proof. Real proof. I would not let him control me, manipulate me, or intimidate me. That night, Michael acted like the perfect husband, moving through the home as if nothing was wrong. But I watched him closely, noting every detail, every slip, every micro-expression. His casual demeanor was a mask, and I intended to see what lay beneath. The next morning, I found him in the living room, sipping coffee. I sat across from him, calm but resolute. "We need to talk," I said. Michael exhaled, as if this was difficult for him. "I think we should separate," he said, like delivering a rehearsed speech. I didn't flinch. "You've been planning this, haven't you?" I asked quietly. A flicker of something crossed his face, gone before I could name it. "It's for the best," he said smoothly. "We've grown apart." I leaned forward. "You want out, but you want to make sure you don't leave empty-handed." His lips pressed into a thin line, and he didn't deny it. Rage and determination burned through me. I wasn't going to let him dictate the terms. "I already moved my assets," I said slowly. His posture stiffened, his jaw clenched. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but I saw it. "What do you mean?" he asked sharply. "Exactly what it sounds like," I replied. "Every asset, every account, secured and protected." He had underestimated me. Months of planning, every detail thought through, and he had not considered me a formidable opponent. He thought he controlled the game, but I was already several moves ahead. I contacted my lawyer, Patricia. Together, we went through every document, every transaction, every interaction. She confirmed what I had suspected. Michael had nothing, and any attempt to claim financial control would fail. Then came the defamation campaign. Rumors at work, whispers from mutual acquaintances, insinuations of financial mismanagement. Michael was trying to ruin me, to hit me where it hurt, but I was ready. We filed a cease and desist, countered every accusation, and prepared for the legal battle he thought he could win. Weeks later, in court, Michael filed for a full financial audit. He wanted to drag me through the mud, but Patricia, precise and calm, dismantled every claim. Evidence? Fabricated. Timing? Impossible. By the end of the hearing, the judge ruled in my favor. Michael lost again. Every claim dismissed. Legal fees assigned to him. For the first time in weeks, I felt a deep, unshakable sense of control. He had tried to take everything and failed. Michael was not done yet. Men like him don't walk away quietly. But I was ready for his final move. He and Ilia Maro filed a formal complaint, accusing me of financial fraud. The documents were doctored, falsified, but Patricia and a forensic analyst caught the key mistakes. We had proof, and we went on the offensive. The lawsuit against Michael and Ilia was swift, precise, and decisive. In court, the falsified evidence was exposed. The judge dismissed their claims and assigned all legal costs to them. Michael had lost completely. I walked out of the courthouse that day, not with a triumphant shout or dramatic confrontation, but with quiet confidence. Victory was mine. The final chapter of this war began quietly. I had won the court battles, secured my assets, and exposed Michael and Ilia's lies. But the psychological battle lingered. The fear, the uncertainty, the sense that at any moment he might strike again. It was exhausting. Yet I had changed. I wasn't the woman who had ignored warning signs. I wasn't the woman who had believed in illusions of safety and permanence. I had learned, adapted, and strengthened. 2 days after the last court hearing, I met with Patricia one final time. She slid the final stack of papers across the desk. "It's done," she said. I exhaled slowly. My fingers hovered over the documents before picking them up. I scanned through the details. Every claim dismissed, every false accusation proven fraudulent. Michael had gained nothing. Ilia Maro's involvement had backfired. The legal costs, the court motions, all of it now counted against them. A quiet laugh escaped me, light, relieved, victorious, but not in a loud, dramatic way, just the kind of peace that comes after surviving a storm. That evening, Beatrice and my mother insisted on a small victory dinner. Margot greeted me with a warm hug. Her eyes held relief. "It's over," she whispered. "Yes," I murmured. Beatrice poured champagne, raising her glass with a mischievous grin. "To freedom, and to never letting a man think he can outsmart you again." I clinked my glass against hers, laughing. "I'll drink to that." We ate, we talked, we reminisced. For the first time in months, I wasn't constantly looking over my shoulder. I wasn't waiting for the next blow. The war was over. Later that night, I stood on my balcony, gazing at the Chicago skyline. The city lights shimmered, stretching infinitely into the horizon. Everything felt different. I had lost things: trust, time, the version of love I thought I had, but I had gained far more. Strength, clarity, control. My phone vibrated on the table beside me. Unknown number. I didn't hesitate. Blocked. I turned back to my laptop, opening a blank document. A new chapter, a new story. My story. As I closed my laptop, I whispered, "This is my story now." Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. Sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who betray us the deepest. But strength isn't about avoiding betrayal. It's about how you rise after it. When I stood at the edge of my marriage, I could have let fear and doubt consume me. I could have crumbled. But instead, I chose to fight. Not just for my finances, but for my dignity, my freedom, and my future. If there's one thing to take away from this story, you are stronger than you think. If you've ever been blindsided, felt the rug pulled from under you, or faced betrayal, know this: you are not alone. Your response defines you. Protect yourself. Trust your instincts. Never let anyone take your power. Betrayal tested me, but I responded strategically, deliberately, and decisively. I reclaimed my life. I reclaimed my story. Victory isn't loud. It isn't flashy. It's quiet, deep, and absolute. And for the first time in months, I felt it in my bones.